Should the makeup of MPs in the House of Commons reflect the diversity within the UK?
And
Well, if you're talking about diversity, you're talking about different cultures. Yes, I think it should,
why do you think that's important?
so that everybody's represented.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, we can't speak on behalf of somebody of a different ethnic origin. There might be some particular interests or needs that need to be brought to the forefront. Like, I can speak on behalf of women who live in the North East of this particular age group. If I don't have any experience of an African American woman who maybe lives over here, or a woman who has other needs, or a different age group. So in that respect, it's a fair enough point.
Yeah, because equality isn't just a man and a woman. It's it's all to do with your age, your social class. Yeah, it has to be your gender. Yeah.
Respect. That's what it all comes down to.
Yes.
Respecting each other. And it's so easy not to respect.
If you want to create a more tolerant and acceptable society as well, those needs should be brought into consideration.
Oh,
they?
yeah. Definitely.
Do we think that happens in Parliament today?
No.
I don't know. There's different people there.
Very few of
like
them
it's
listen.
Predominantly men, though.
It's
It's
more
predominantly
like
middle-aged to older white middle class or upper class men.
Who were asleep.
Yeah.
No, it isn't. They're not usually asleep because they've got speakers in the seats and it's the head
just not
leaning
pretending
over
yet.
to the
Ah.
speaker.
Like with the eye shut, that's a good one, man.
Well, the rest in your eyes, I do that quite often. No, I don't. I think Parliament wants a big shake-up.
It's getting better, but it is a slow process, isn't it? I think.
I don't think it's getting that much better.
I don't think it's getting any better.
Slowly.
What
don't
gets
even
me is
think so.
they do not answer a question. You get a question and you are supposed to give an answer, but they do not give one. They'll walk round it and go to Portrait to get over to Seaton, but that doesn't answer the question. Straightforward question. And I noticed Theresa May, she was asked 2 questions. She missed the first one and answered the second in a roundabout way. I think if we, as a people, approached the government and said, please speak plain English so that we can understand, and if you should be able to qualify the answer that you give.
So do you think the MPs there, I don't know, just look in the North East now, do you think they're representative of our community? And I'm not just on about Stockton, I'm on about Hartlepool, Redcar, Darlington, Middlesbrough. Do you think that's representative of Teesside?
No.
No, because
They're predominantly men, aren't they?
they are predominantly
Is there
men.
any women?
I think,
MPs?
there is. There is in Redcar.
Just
Yeah, but she's too tall.
No,
It's
but
overseeing the men.
Ah,
There
right.
you go.
She's tall, ain't she?
I don't think anybody can understand anybody else until they've walked in their shoes.
So think of even the ethnicity then. That's not reflected, is it?
No.
In the representation of our MPs in our locality.
No, it isn't.
Gender isn't really. It'd
No.
be one person out of however many.
No.
I wouldn't like to think of the other things like their gender, their faith.
Yeah.
But if you're talking about all of it, the gender, the colour, whatever, will there be enough room in the House of the Parliament for everyone?
Well,
We'll
there
have
would
to
be.
shift a few of the people who do now.
Well, why don't we build another parliament? Get everybody into work.
Disability is another thing that...
Put everybody back into work, build another parliament.
We just
Scrap
let them
that
get away
Parliament.
with it, and we pay their wages.
But what happens is we go out and vote, but not enough of us go out and vote for the people that might represent us.
Well, I like to think that we had more people voting for us, please. Oh, not so much us. I mean, I'm Labour, so I vote Labour. But it would be nice if everybody within the country took that right up, because we all fought for it, girls and boys,
Yeah.
The girls.
right?
But it's like
vote.
In other countries, the
But
queue
maybe
to vote.
reason why
The queue
people
to
are not
vote.
voting, maybe they've lost faith in it.
I would like to know what
And
would
yeah,
happen.
And I can agree with that. Maybe there's a lot of people have lost faith in it. Because,
not doing now.
well, it's a shame.
Or the promise.
When I look at things, as you all know, it's like the 2008 when the bankers buggered up. Yet it's us at the bottom end of the society who's paying for it all, and that's what spoils it all. So it's when you look at a parliament, for me, let's put people back into work and build another parliament. A parliament that'll work for the people.
What would happen if a young mother was sitting in Parliament and the baby wanted feeding and she sat there listening to a debate, breastfeeding a baby? Would there be an outrage?
Yes, there
Well, I
would.
say there wouldn't. The same as you would never have, I guess, I don't know because I don't know the makeup of
There
all the
shouldn't
MPs,
be.
but if you had a young mother who was an MP and had a couple of children to a couple of different fathers or something like that, they would never get to that point with the way they would be MP, I don't think. We're going to move on to another one now.
What does equality mean to me?
So what does it mean to you, Lorraine?
That men and women are equal. Who said like the caveman was the first one to hunt? Could have been a woman, for all anyone knows, and we're not in the Bible for it.
Yeah,
Could have been a woman.
probably was.
Yeah, the lioness does it.
But he said he brought the deity.
What the mean?
Yeah, but it was a man who invented the pencil. So that's why he wrote it first.
Yeah, but the woman told him how to make it.
So I can believe her, because women are very good at telling
forget
us men what to do.
You forget the men. If it wasn't about a woman, you wouldn't be here.
I'd say it's not so like the what men and women can do. I'd say it's more like the underrepresentation of what women have done in society rather than what they haven't
like
done. I feel like
women have to fight harder, don't they? Like, obviously we've just played that game there and there's been loads of questions and we've had a little quiz about some things that none of us were aware of, and like some of the questions on the quiz were like, you think, bloody hell, they've grafted for that, you know what I mean?
They worked hard for it, there's no getting away from that.
Got whipped for speaking out in Parliament, didn't they?
And to be fair, although things are progressing and we are moving towards a more equal society, we still face things like that now. We still get questioned whether we're an unfit mother then because we're going out to work. I get a bit frustrated sometimes because it's about, we have to be perfect at everything. We've got to be perfect at work, perfect at home, perfect in the bedroom, perfect in the cookery department.
We are good at multitasking though.
And we are, but we've got to just juggle it all. Because if we work too much and then our kids play up at school, then we're not home enough. If we're not out at work and we're home too much, then we're being lazy and dependent on a man. So it doesn't matter what we do, we still get a bit of slating for it, which makes it a bit more difficult, doesn't it, in that respect?
That's why I said, who comes first, the man or the woman? Yeah, maybe even Adam, and he always said it was Adam first, but how do we know? No one really knows the truth.
Because it was in the Bible, Adam was there.
Yeah.
That's a whole other story. That is a whole other story.
Has it come from nature itself? Or has it come from nature itself?
You see, the fundamental question is, from this conversation that I'm getting is, how important is the child in the relationship of a man versus woman? Because if you have to put the child first, it means being like my mother, stopping at home to bring the child up. But nowadays, as soon as that child is 3, get yourself out looking for a job. So that child has to go into somebody else's care. So then they come back with, well, you shouldn't have children unless you have enough money. But some women, in their nature, it's in them. They want a big family. And I'm sorry, but I cannot see why a woman should not be allowed to stop at home to look after the children. When she's carried them, when she's given birth to them, and when she's nurtured them.
Well, we can, if we've got a rich enough husband to allow us to do that. If we don't have that rich enough husband to do that, then we're vilified for it.
It's not that women can't do it.
Because of today's...
That's it, why? So then the equality comes in. If I don't have a daughter, but if I had a daughter and she wanted 6 kids and to stop at home with those 6 kids, I'd say, go on, girl, because she'd be bringing those kids up properly, not left to God and Providence to walk round the street, to go and pick up with somebody who has a knife and this, that and the other.
Yeah, but doesn't that go back to get back in the kitchen, girl?
Family values.
Doesn't that?
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
Exactly.
No, but it's about the choice.
It's choice, yeah.
It's choice. I agree with you. It's a choice, right? And it's probably the right choice.
I know what you're saying, but it's more so if the woman wants to stay at home, it's because she's chose that, not because a man's told her to. That's the important part. It's not you need to stay in the kitchen. It's I want to be here.
The choice has been taken.
It's the same with women in abortion. Women who are stripper women. Any woman should have the choice to do what they want in life. And I think that's the most important bit.
Can we look further up? Can we take it further up? Right, and this is involving both men as well, right? As far as choices go, right? Both men and women, and especially obviously the married couples of today, all young married couples really are forced into taking 2 jobs. Maybe at first they don't have the children and they plan the children. They are still forced to have 2 jobs because of the low wages we are all on.
Yeah. It's a fair point.
Now, I'm involving the men here, and the men, believe it or not, are on very crappy low wages. So they couldn't go out to work and just build a home empire with it just in working anyway. We are forced, we're dictated to, both women and men, to get out there and work. That's why we miss our kids, and our kids miss us.
So there's inequality within the home, there's inequality within the workplace, and there's certainly inequality within the areas that we live. We live in a particularly deprived area in the northeast of England, which again puts lots of there's that structural inequality. There is lack of jobs, there is lack of public transport, there is lack of there's some good schools out there, but there's still some lack of really decent education. We can't afford to go to Eton, we can't afford to send our kids off to private school, we can't afford to give them the chances to enable them to realise their full potential. That's the way it is at the moment. So equality for us means about choice, doesn't it? Yeah. Having that choice and about having that ability to realise our potential, and at this moment in time that is denied us. Although we can talk and say we're moving towards that, really we're not. So we have to continue to fight against the social injustice.
Keep chipping away, because each little bit you take off gets better. So yeah. I mean, I'm after equality, but I'm after it for both sexes. I'm sorry, girls.
Well, yeah, that's their point.
That is what equality is, though, isn't it?
Yeah. I want it for everybody.
Just male and females.
Yeah.
The social and social, economic, and what is it?
Cultural.
Equality of the sexes or something like that.
Yeah.
There's lots of things.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Marvellous first pilot for our podcast, wasn't it? Well done. Let's hope people listen. Oh, Colin, sorry.
That's a good one, that one.
Go on.
Come on.
Do you think we should change the way we vote?
Well, do you?
Well, it's open for all of us, so girls and boys, we're all there. We're all entitled to vote once we become 18. So, can I change that? No. What I'd like to change is the people who are not voting. But I also understand that they've got to a situation where, like, what is their vote really worth? But for me, their vote is worth a lot.
But if you think about the amount of people that do vote, and it's very, very few, right? So really, do we have a majority to take things forward? So in our, I don't know, I'll use Newtown, when they did a ward councillor election, I think it was last year, and there was a 14% turnout. Now, is that justifying the ward council that got in. I'd say no, it isn't. You have to relook at the system.
It isn't.
If you've got less than, I'd say, a majority of about 60-70% turnout, then I think that's a null and void vote, personally, because it's not. It's not what the majority of
the people want. Exactly.
And then if people are not coming out to vote, then they're going to have to look at a different system in order to enable that person to be elected by their community that they're serving.
Yeah.
The same as the general elections, the same as your normal MPs in your local constituencies. You're getting too few people turning out. So I would not say that their person is representing the community.
And if you look at it as well, it's more so the wealthy upper class people vote a lot more than people do in places where we're from. So they need to sort of look at why that is, why people from our communities aren't voting, and try and change that.
I think it is about education, isn't it?
What the vote means, why you vote.
But if you don't vote and if there's definitely less than 50%, it should be null and void. If it's this case, this ward council was 14%, same as Brexit when it was 52-48. That's too close to say you've got a massive majority. Then to say that's saying that the country's divided. So
I'm just hoping, right,
Does
that my Britain doesn't regret coming out. That's what I'm hoping.
It's too fine a line, isn't it? You've got to have won by a particular percentage, I would say,
but
to say it's well.
So then you come into the voting system that the Liberal Democrats want, where it's not actually first past the post. I think they do it in America. They count the votes up and it goes by percentages.
Like proportional representation,
That's
things like
it.
that.
Yeah.
Well, you have to look at the system. The system's flawed.
It is flawed,
it is.
There's no getting away from that. And maybe that's why some people don't vote no more, give up.
Right. Does anybody have any final words or anything like that?
Never give up.
Yeah.
Keep fighting, keep chipping away, because every bit you take away only grants you that bit better.
Gave us a voice, and we should use that God-given present that He gave us.
And if you don't believe in God, use your own voice. There you go.
God save the Queen.
Goodbye.
That's what I thought you were going to say, Kath.